now watching Chad 76 Media.
Last week we were riding the new Triumph 1200, which is the RS and the Standard. So we started the day on the Standard and then we finished the day on the RS. So for 2025, big changes for the bike really. So in terms of power, they've just increased it a little bit at the top end. So you've got 5 more brake horsepower, and that is all done by just making it over rev a little bit more. So the torque is still the same, and the power and the torque curves are pretty similar, but then when you get to the top of the RPM, you just get like an extra kick, so there's an extra 5 horsepower on that.
There's no quick shifter on the Standard model. You only get a quick shifter on the RS because it's got rear set, so there's room to actually put the quick shifter mechanism. There's no room to do it on this, but everything's kind of nice and progressive. I wouldn't say soft, but it is comfortable. The brakes are nice and progressive. They're just the Triumph branded brakes. Nothing overly special, not Brembo stylemas like you have on the RS, but they're good enough. It's only when you kind of ask questions and you want to do something that it was maybe not designed for, is when you come to a little bit of a hiccup.
In terms of styling, there's a lot of different aesthetics. The mudguards are different, or the fenders, depending where you're watching this. The cutaway on the tank is different, the seats are different. There's loads of little styling tweaks. The clocks, big talking point, because the clocks are now just one central TFT unit, so you've got Bluetooth connectivity if you want that, where before you had like 2 round analog clocks, 1 rev, 1 speedo, which was kind of retro, and now you've just got one central digital clock, which some people like, some people don't like. I guess it's depending if you want that connectivity, depending if you want to take calls and text messages and stuff like that.
How nice is it around here? A bit careful when you go into shadow, but look at the views. Oh yeah, need to look at the road, that'll help. I mean, that's decent lean, and the pegs are nowhere near. Really good ground clearance on the Standard bike. Going to be even more on the RS. Oh, this is beautiful. Look at that. Oh, that is a cool old Land Rover. Very cool. What a beautiful spot. Triumph picked a good road. It just this is the type of bike you just spend all afternoon on, rarely changing gear, trying to look cool, comfy riding, comfy seat, doesn't look bad for a pillion, cornering ABS, cornering traction control should you need it. What's not to like? It looks great, sounds great, easy to ride.
But for me, the big thing is the offering of 2 different models. So you've got the Standard and you've got the RS. So basically what Triumph have done is given you 2 different options. The Thruxton is no more, that's going to be discontinued, so you could argue that the RS is kind of following into that gap of the Thruxton.
This is so fun! Oh yeah! More grip, more confidence.
And then you get on the RS, and I thought the difference between the Standard and the RS would be like this, but it's big. There's a real noticeable difference. As soon as you get on, your feet are further back, the bars are a bit lower, you're a bit more aggressive. The engine is exactly the same, but it feels sportier because you're riding it more aggressively. You're using that top end. There's an extra sports mode, which arguably you don't really need. The Standard road mode is perfectly fine, but the quick shifter comes in useful. So you're firing in more gear changes, you're holding on to the revs a bit longer, you're pushing a bit harder, you're braking a bit later, and the brakes are stronger, but not because you're braking so much later, but it's just that you're using like 1 finger or 2 fingers rather than 4 fingers for the same kind of force. The suspension holds it, so the suspension is tauter, there's less travel, so when you throw it into a corner, it's not sitting on the suspension, it's really in the corner much better.
It feels so different to the Standard bike. I'm quite pleased I went the Standard then RS.
two different models share the same engine, they share the same main frame, they share the same performance, the same peak power, the same gearing, the same gearbox, the same wheels, near enough the same rake and trail. The seat height's a little bit different, and that's due to the difference in suspension. So the RS gets fully adjustable Marzocchi, it gets fully adjustable twin shocks on the rear, it gets Brembo style EMA brakes, it gets a quick shifter as standard, it gets an extra riding mode, and the bars are slightly further forward and the pegs are slightly up and further back, just to make it a little bit more aggressive and a little bit sportier.
Hairpin into tunnel. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, it's a bit damp. How good are these roads? Just feels so much smoother. Just roll, like the steering's way more accurate. Where before it was a little bit sluggish, now it's not. Could you take it on a track day? Yeah, I reckon you could. You'd have to pick your track, but I don't see why not. Oh, it's another never-ending corner. If I was in leathers, it'd be knee down.
But the thing is, Triumph chose a really clever road because it was all second, third gear, lots and lots of hairpins, and we're just talking a little bit over 100 horsepower. So on a faster, more open road, whether that's in the US, the UK or Europe, or on a big flowing track, then 100 horsepower is probably not going to cut it. But on a tight track or a nice twisty alpine pass or some really nice B roads that we've got here in the UK, then yeah, you're really going to feel it on the RS.
So to sum up what has been an awesome day's riding, the looks I think are beautiful. I really like the looks. The engineers must have had an absolute pain in the ass, complete headache, making the exhaust look like it does when it's still Euro 5 plus, getting hiding all the wiring and all the sensors. So that is a big thumbs up. Little details with the brushed aluminium look on the fuel cap, these little cutouts on the fuel tank. So I think the traction's a little bit intrusive on the standard model, in the standard mode. I don't think it needs to be that strong, but maybe that just adds that bit of security that people who ride this bike want. The standard bike is pretty hard to fault if you ride it like it was designed to. You know, jacket and jeans, Sunday blast, loads of torque, loads of fun. It's only when you like jump on the RS and go, ooh, brakes are better, suspension's better, the riding position is sporty but not radical, this is not a Thruxton, and then you jump back on the standard, you go, brakes aren't as good, suspension's a bit soft.
It's a real difficult decision. The only thing is, I think the majority of riders are going to be fine on the standard bike. You're going to be perfectly happy on the standard bike. If I rode that in the UK, never wanted to go on track, never rode aggressively, rode it as it was designed to do, then I'd be fine with a standard bike. And I think the majority of people are going to be fine with a standard bike. But if you go to the RS, it's going to be difficult to go back. It's like having a favourite restaurant that you go to all the time, and then your mate recommends one. You go to that restaurant, you find out that's better, and you never go back to that one. And that's the problem. If you try the RS, it'll be really difficult to go back to the standard model once you've tried the RS. But if you're pretty honest with yourself and you go, well, I'm probably never going to go on track, I'm probably never going to ride that aggressively, I don't really need a quick shifter, and I don't like the orange, then stay with the standard bike. But if you do try the RS, then it'll be difficult to go back.
Difficult to compare it to the competition because obviously they're not here, and I think with these type of bikes a lot of it is sold on looks, and some people are just going to love the look of the BMW or the Scrambler and just want a BMW or a Ducati and won't even consider the Triumph, and then some people are going to want a British icon, which you could say the Triumph is. It's the only one that's got the history of this brand and this name and looks kind of the oldest, so to speak. And people that want a Triumph are just going to buy a Triumph. And if they do, they're not going to be disappointed. I really like it. I think it's going to be another modern, classic, big seller for Triumph. It'd be interesting to see which way the market goes. I think the majority will go RS, which is what I'm on now, than the standard model. But as I say, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah.
A couple of £1,000 more expensive, but for that you do get the fully adjustable Marzocchi, you get the all-in shocks, you get the quick shifter, you get the extra rider mode, you get the Stylember brakes, you get the sportier suspension. So when you add it all up, it's not actually that bad. And if you're buying it on a deal, or you're PCPing it, or you're paying monthly, then it's probably only going to be, I don't know, £10 to £20 more expensive, or maybe even less, to just go for the RS.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Got any questions? You know what to do.